Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro went off on former Vice President Kamala Harris after learning what she wrote about him in her book, 107 Days.
In a recent interview with The Atlantic, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro was asked about his thoughts on the matter. Harris wrote that Shapiro was more interested in the role of vice president than in helping her beat Trump, that Shapiro inquired about featuring Pennsylvania artists in the vice presidential residence, and insisted he would want to be in the room for every decision that Harris might make.
Now, Shapiro responded, telling The Atlantic, quote, "That's complete and utter bleep. I can tell you that her accounts are just blatant lies. I mean, she's trying to sell books and cover her bleep."
Shapiro, who could be a Democratic nominee for president in 2028, I'm betting he will be, told the outlet that Democrats will regain power by courting Trump supporters as opposed to focus on battling him.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has left open the possibility that she could pursue the Democratic presidential nomination for a third time. This was, you good?
Go ahead.
This was drama because I read the article, and the writer of this article at The Atlantic has interviewed Josh Shapiro multiple times and said that multiple times when this question has come up over the last year, he's been very polished and predictable about his answer to why Kamala didn't pick him and how he feels about her. But this time, for some reason, maybe he broke up on the wrong side of the bed or had a different mood, and that's me just saying what I might feel about it. But he was ready to talk about it. And it's probably because of the accusations in the book, he'd read them enough to be like, no, I completely disagree with that. That's untrue. He says that a lot of what she's doing is selfish, petty, and zealous. And he feels like she's trying to sell books, like he said. But he also says some things that are interesting to me in this article, that he's very sympathetic to people who did vote for Trump. He said that he thought that Kamala was just a weak candidate completely, which I thought was interesting because he really, it seemed, wanted to be her vice president with the intention, the understanding that he would be president in the future after that. But he didn't think that she was the best option in the first place. He also believes that a lot of Trump voters felt ignored, and that if he looks at how he's won Pennsylvania, at 30% of voters in Pennsylvania also voting for him, and he knows that he has that, I guess, what you call duality to be able to work within both parties, that he's enough of a person that's a leader that people are like, okay, he's not super liberal, but he's somebody who we want in the White House at this time.
He has something going for him. He got elected in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And I'm sorry, getting elected in Pennsylvania is the entire game.
And I meant 30% of Trump voters in Pennsylvania voted for him.
So he did something she can't do. She did not win the state of Pennsylvania. It's the must-win state. So, yeah, he gets... And also, she was picked at the last minute. She didn't win anything. She didn't go through the process the normal way. So... yeah, I don't think it's so offensive that he said, I would like to be in the room when decisions are made.
Well, no, come on.
She needs him more than he needs her.
No one says that to the person that's supposed to be president. Like, start naming things that you want to do. Like, if you and I are running and I'm going to be at the lead of the ticket and you're going to be vice president, you can't just say, I want to be in every... That's not how your role goes.
She wanted a patsy vice president who wasn't going to overshadow her in any way. Hillary Clinton wanted the same thing. Both of them, picked forgettable men named Tim, and both of them lost. They needed star power to invigorate those campaigns, and they made awful choices. Kamala Harris picked someone who would have been embroiled in a welfare fraud scandal.
Oh, that would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy. And it's Josh Shapiro. Look, if Josh Shapiro was a far-left radical, it wouldn't matter. I would still think he should be on the ticket because he's the governor of the must-win state. He has a proven track record of winning in the state you have to win. If you win Pennsylvania, you're probably going to win the election. If you don't, you're almost certainly not. That's it. There's no further consideration to make. That is the number one criteria. So the idea that it wasn't automatically him is, frankly, offensive.
So what I want to talk about really quick is that the idea that your vice president should be a superstar. Historically, that's never the case. President Trump picked J.D. Vance, who we know has superstarish qualities because of how outspoken he is. But when you look at Obama, Biden was not a superstar. He very much was somebody who was going to cooperate and go along with things.
I think it was to make people...
Cheney wasn't a superstar, right? He was very assertive and very powerful, but he certainly wasn't a superstar. He kind of kept quiet. And we learned about that relationship, but he wasn't a star. And so you're saying pick somebody with star power. That's usually not what what they go for.
No, I
when
said
they're
pick
looking
the
for.
governor of Pennsylvania.
Well, just him, not
honestly.
somebody who's just randomly named Tim from another. That's what you're saying. Like this was too random and obscure. They should pick somebody who at least
They should pick
could
the
hold
governor
some
of
weight.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, only Shapiro. There was no other option. Not even Mark Kelly, who has super big name recognition. Arizona was super
Pick
important.
the governor
to them.
of Pennsylvania.
That's it. I thought, if anything, Mark Kelly would have been an even good choice as well.
But he's not the governor of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but
you have to win Pennsylvania. That decides the election. So you should, if the governor of Pennsylvania is of your party, you should pick that person, right? It's just if it adds 0.05% of your vote tally in Pennsylvania, you've dramatically increased your odds of winning the election. Like, there's no other consideration. Historically, the vice president was picked for regional considerations to balance the ticket because our political parties were more factional. There was like a southern faction of the Democratic Party and a northern faction for the Republican Party. So they would pick often from a swing state. Often Ohio is overrepresented on the presidential ticket, the vice president and the president's side, because historically Ohio was an important swing state for a long period of time. Ohio's no longer a swing state. Now the swing state is Pennsylvania, so it should also be overrepresented in our choices, but it's not because people keep making dumb choices. I don't know that, I mean, Cheney didn't add anything electorally to the ticket. I think Bush picked him, frankly, because he just liked Cheney. Obama picked Biden to have someone with experience on the ticket who was older and who had experience in foreign policy. Obama perceived that that's the weakness that the American people were going to see in him, his lack of experience on foreign policy. So he picked someone of that. It was not regionally balancing it, but it was, and maybe, frankly, to make, if he worried people wouldn't vote for a black man, well, now there's a white man on the ticket. That probably entered into their calculation.
There's something else that I know is going to rally you up from this article. He talked about the fact that Kamala is a lot to blame for the fact that she was quiet during Biden's cognitive decline, and that he thinks that if it was an existential threat in the way that he feels that it was, then she needs to cover. That's why he's saying cover her behind in that tweet that I read, is because she is basically she's implicit in all this by allowing Biden to go on this long and not just like not ending that first term and saying that outwardly to everyone, like, no, it doesn't have to be me, but he can't run again. Mm-hmm. And just throwing the party in disarray, because she should have known, he's saying. Even though we talked about earlier how a lot of cabinet meetings didn't happen and how he was isolated, we know now from the book by Jake Tapper that Jill Biden was very much the leader of that ship of protecting him and keeping him away. But I'm assuming Kamala at least saw him more than most people, and I'm assuming that Josh Shapiro feels the same way that I do, that if everyone felt so strongly in the Democratic Party that Trump was going to bring down the world to the end of times, then everybody should have screamed on top of their lungs and said, this can't go, Biden can't run again.
Yeah, maybe she should have tried to win, and by trying to win, I mean pick the governor of Pennsylvania. It's really that simple. It's not. Sometimes they overthink it, overcomplicate it. She must have really not liked him in the meeting.
But to know that somebody really wants to be the main person on the ticket,
what do you want to put Pennsylvania art in the? Oh my God, what a sin!
No, that he wants to be in every meeting to me would have been the biggest thing. Like, I'm the president, I'll let you know which meetings you need to be into. That's how all presidencies work, right? The president.
Well,
makes
that's how
decisions.
she was treated by Biden. So maybe that's how she was conditioned to think it should go. Up next, Olivia Nuzzi appears to break down when discussing her new book about her relationship with RFK Jr. Yeah, more of that story. We'll be right back.